We're going to do some beer tasting today with beer sent to us by Athletic Brewing Company. Alright, so I'm on my way to Fleet Feet to meet my friends Michael and Patrick, who will be doing the beer tasting with me. But first, I'm off to Total Wine & More, which is a liquor store that also sells varieties of beer. I'm going to try to find beers that are similar in description of alcoholic content to match the ones that we have. So then that way, we don't just sample one beer of a kind, we have two to kind of talk about flavors and the head of it, coloration, etc. And I think that'll be fun. So before we start, guys, please note that these beers have been sent to us free of charge. However, they do not have any influence on our opinions that we're going to provide you with today. So before we start, guys, how often do you actually drink beer?
I would say oftentimes after most days, I suppose. I work a very physical job. Even on my days off, I like to be outdoors a lot. It's very hot here in Florida, so what better day to end warm activity than a cold beer?
What about you, Michael?
I like to eat a lot. That's just my thing. And after a good meal, of course, you want to have a good beer as well to settle your taste buds and enjoy the rest of the day.
Exactly. And my background, I'm German, so I was brought up in a culture where beer is very prominent. It's usually for lunch and stuff, beer is there, so I'm very familiar with the different types of beers. And so are my friends. Michael is Czech. Patrick is Floridian. Like you said, he likes his beers after his physical activities and work and all that stuff.
All right, so we're going to start here with the Lite Beer brewed by Athletic Brewing Company. So you can see it there. Now we're going to compare this to a very prominently drinking, of course, light beer. One of the most commonly drank beers in America, probably Bud Light beer. Now we can see both have a smaller head.
And light in color.
Both light in color. The Athletic Brewing Company definitely has more carbonation, it appears. A lot more bubbly in appearance.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, I definitely agree. I mean, light beers are certainly not my favorite. Bud Light, perhaps being the least amongst those. Of course, the biggest reason for drinking a light beer would be the calorie content. Here we have the Athletic Brewing coming in at 25 calories, the Bud Light coming in at 80 calories for the can. So next we will try the Athletic Brewing Company. Cheers.
Oh my God, so much better.
Much better, without a doubt.
Refined taste on it. You can tell that it's a different style of beer. Even though it's a light beer, it has more flavor to it. And there is no weird aftertaste as you would have after this Bud Light.
Certainly if I were to choose between the two on pleasurability of drinking, though, I would certainly choose the Athletic Brewing.
So, Athletic Brewing wins on that one.
Definitely.
All right, so we're back after tossing the rest of our Bud Lights to bring you guys the next beer, which is going to be the Atletica Mexican-style Copper.
This style of beer is very popular in Americas because it has heavily influenced by Southern heritage of Americas.
Yeah, exactly. So we brought some Modelo Especial to try both of them next to each other to kind of see how they compare with flavor. So let's get pouring.
And then the on-file shoes, I've never actually tried those before. Are those, I think I do, yeah, just because I've never tried them. I was always curious.
Okay, so the Athletic Brewing Company has a lesser head, both similar in color. The Athletic Brewing, again, being more
carbonated.
Yeah, more carbonated than the alcoholic. Perhaps alternative. We'll judge on taste how they compare against each other.
Right. Cheers.
Cheers with Modelo.
Certainly better than the light beer. Still not my common drink, but out of the Mexican style beers, Modelo is definitely my favorite.
All right, let's try
Athletic Brewing.
Atletica.
Oh, the smell! You can smell the citrusy notes in this immediately compared to the Modelo. There's definitely nothing like that going on with the Modelo.
I do like how they're
Very smooth.
This is the one that's like
Definitely smooth, yeah.
drop, right?
I'm just kind of blown away how they make their beers taste like actual beers.
Right, yeah. Without knowledge of it, I would think it was a normal alcoholic beer. As far as taste, pleasurability of drinking it, it definitely meets those standards.
Votes for Atletica, votes for Modelo.
My vote is for Atletica for sure.
Yeah, I think flavor, everything. I'd go with Athletic Brewing on flavor on that one. Yeah, we're 2 for 2 so far.
2 for 2. So the next beer that we're going to try from Athletic Brewing is the personal record version. It's an IPA with mango turmeric. And right away when I saw this beer, it reminds me of one of my own favorite personal beers that if I ever drink buy, which is the Mango Cart by Golden Road, made in Los Angeles. And I tried it and it made me think of that. So I want to know what you guys think about that.
Now we're getting into beers that I enjoy, and definitely enjoy more. The Golden Road Mango Carts, definitely a go-to, especially on the warmer days.
Exactly, going out on the boat and
for summer, you want to have some more flavor to it. You want to have some refreshing beers that have a little bit of mixture of fruitiness and a beer taste as well.
exactly. So let's get pouring.
There's definitely more haziness in the Athletic beer.
So, certainly.
Yeah.
Here we have a much larger head on the Mango Cart.
Yeah, more hazy for the Athletic Brewing. But then again, we're kind of comparing apples and oranges. It's not like they ever said we're trying to make this. We're just comparing beers that have the same kind of ingredients, right?
Yeah, same descriptions.
Yes. All right, so cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Alcoholic first.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
A much fuller flavor than the other two, certainly. Definitely see why this is one of your favorites.
yes.
So both have those hints of mango. I see the personal record definitely has a higher IBU. It's a definite different taste.
Very different.
And the taste of the turmeric lingers in your mouth for some time now too.
Yeah.
So we would pair it with with a good meal, perhaps. And
Like a plate of fries or something, perhaps.
Which, if you ask me, I mean, I feel like now that I'm right in front of these two beers, they're too different to compare. All right, so next up, we're going to have a white beer. So for you guys that don't know beers very much, a white beer is not a Hefeweizen. It's completely different. This is a Belgium-style white, comparable to styles like Hoegaarden or other ones. I brought a Erdinger Weissbier from Bavaria. So it should be kind of like a Blue Moon, but
Okay.
this is maybe a little bit better than Blue Moon. And this is pretty good too.
it's kind of hard to find Erdinger in restaurants or pubs if you go to. And so Blue Moon is our only choice here.
It's still, sitting down, it feels really roomy still. Maybe that's just like material, so
Well, that on a straight pour has a lot of head.
Color-wise, they are very similar too.
Yeah, perhaps a slightly more amber in the, how do you pronounce this, Lottie?
Erdinger Weissbier, or you can just say white beer.
White beer.
That's what we say in
Prost it.
Germany. What's it?
Cheers. All right, I do like that.
Right?
Very drinkable, refreshing.
Very smooth again, like very goes down very easily.
No lingering taste. Anything just washes down very easily.
Yes, with a pretzel. Imagine Oktoberfest. Imagine, being out there all day and just having this to refresh and sitting at the tables, locking arms with strangers.
Singing songs,
Yes.
dancing on tables.
Sounds like a great place to be on it.
You should go sometime, Patrick. Maybe make it overlap with the Berlin Marathon. Do the Berlin Marathon and then go down south. And let's move on to the Athletic Brewing version.
That by the end of even just a long walk.
Scent's good.
Yeah, I mean, both mild and nothing really overpowering in scent there.
With a stronger smell on the Athletic Brewing side.
But man, is it smooth.
They're very different, but I do definitely enjoy the flavor of the Athletic Brewing. Yeah, I'd say for me, if I went to the fridge to grab a beer, I've just finished a hot day, I would probably go with the Athletic Brewing purely based on flavor and enjoyability of the drink.
And one thing we didn't mention is that it's only 60 calories per can.
All right, so with that, we're moving over to the next beer, which is the Upside Down Golden by Athletic Brewing Company. So when I went over to the liquor store to buy a beer that is comparable to this beer, I was told to try the Kona Big Wave based on description, just so we have something to compare. And I'm not sure. Do you know a lot about the Kona?
Yeah, I've drank that before. Again, as far as I see it, a lighter flavor beer. Again, good on a nice warm day. Not too hoppy, but a good amount of flavor. It's based purely on description. They seem fairly similar, but I suppose we will see now. It is not a twist off. Actually, it's a kind of similar head in size, much larger bubbles on the Athletic Brewing Company side. They both kind of a golden color. The Athletic Brewing Company, a little hazier. A little more amber color out of the Kona.
All right, so
Kona Big Wave first.
Kona.
I feel like I've tried that before.
Yeah, certainly very drinkable. At least originally when I saw it, I associated with, of course, the Kona triathlon.
It wouldn't be my first beer to choose anyway, but let's see what Athletic Brewing comes up with when they have a golden beer. Cheers to that one.
Definitely a stronger scent. I'd say a stronger flavor out of the Athletic Brewing Company beer.
Definitely.
But still enjoyable. We haven't moved
Yeah.
over to IPA territory yet, which that one's going to be tough for me.
That's going to be tough for me too.
That is my bread and butter.
And that's why you're here, Patrick.
Okay, comparison, if I was going to the fridge, again, to grab a beer, and we're basing it purely on that flavor-wise, I would go for the Kona Big Wave. But as far as a refreshing beer, I'd have to go on the Kona side.
What about you?
For me, they taste very similar. Either way for me. And there's no clear winner in this round for me.
I'm going to have to agree. You could have fooled me. I mean, you could literally mix them for me and they taste the same.
Yeah.
So.
But for the purposes of having a light beer, or beer that you can enjoy without the alcoholic after effect, then the Athletic Brewing would be a winner.
Yeah, definitely, especially with that calorie count. 45 calories. I can sit there, have a relaxing evening, have a little food, have a few beers after a run. 3 beers, I'm under 150 calories. That's amazing.
But yeah. All right, moving on to my not so favorite territory, but his favorite territory, which is IPA land. We have the Run Wild IPA by Athletic Brewing, and we're going to compare this beer to the Lagunitas IPA.
Yes, I'm definitely interested here. Lagunitas is one of my go-to IPAs. I do love the IPAs. Not so high in alcohol content while remaining flavorful, not too bitter. So I'm very interested to see how a non-athletic IPA will shape up. Now we have not much of a head on the Athletic Company, Lagunitas, with a very large head. perhaps a little hazier on the Athletic Brewing side. A pretty clear amber color on the Lagunitas. Like I said before, the Lagunitas is one of my go-to, but an issue you have with IPAs, of course, is the large alcohol content and the calories. I mean, it's easy. In 3 beers on certain IPAs, I mean, they'll run pretty high percentage. The Lagunitas running a 6.2%, so on drinkability, a little on the lower side in alcohol, a very drinkable IPA. But you easily get into high calorie numbers of the IPA. And this one, it comes in at only 65 calories on the Athletic Brewing Company. Well, in comparison, I don't know what the Lagunitas runs. Some of them will be near 200 calories a beer. So again, 3 beers pushing you close to 600 calories. 3 of these would keep you under 200, which is impressive.
That's good, yeah.
And that's one of the features too of Athletic Brewing, that they'll show you all the ingredients and everything about the beer right on the can. So if you don't know what you are looking for, it's right there.
Right.
Sorry,
All right,
Lagunita
so-
first.
Lagunitas. Again, a very drinkable IPA, not too bitter, very robust in flavor.
All right, so we will taste this one next, which is the Athletic Brewing version. Smell is pretty close.
Very similar, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit stronger on the athletic side.
We should blindfold each other and do that. Should have brought some blindfolds.
That would have ended good.
Definitely different,
Different, yeah.
but a satisfying IPA. The bitterness similar. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure of the IBU. I don't think Athletic Brewing puts the IBU on there, but I would think within a few points.
Lagunitas flavor lingers a lot longer than this one, so I'm kind of grateful it
Yeah, I
doesn't.
think so. Yeah.
In my opinion, this is a tie, which, again, just goes to show how...
How close the beers are. For me, the Athletic Brewing is a little bit lighter flavor and lighter taste and a little bit more enjoyable. Since I don't like the IPAs as much, but if I am forced to twist my arm, I would prefer the other one.
I think, between the two, purely off of taste, not the calorie content or anything, I prefer the Lagunitas, but to keep something stocked in my fridge to have after a hard day outside, it meets the requirements, what I want out of an IPA as far as flavor and refreshness, with that very low calorie count.
65 calories per
Yeah.
can, so that's great. All right, so next up is our last sample beer from Athletic Brewing Company, which is the Freewave Hazy IPA. This beer has 70 calories.
Yeah, and for a hazy IPA, we're still not even hitting the calorie count of most light beers. So again, we're going to be comparing it to the Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing IPA, which is a very popular hazy IPA.
So let's get started.
Yeah, we get the comparison on the head. A pretty decent sized head on the Athletic Brewing again. We're looking at larger bubbles with the head, where the Sierra Nevada has a much smaller, more compact head.
With the larger bubbles, you don't have the denseness of the head, therefore it reacts with oxygen much faster and disappears quicker.
Cheers, guys. This is the Hazy Little Thing by Sierra Nevada.
All right, for the comparison.
Similar in smell.
Yeah.
A lot more flavor in the athletic side, to me.
I feel like the Hazy Athletic Brewing version or beer is a lot more bitter.
The Little Thing IPA makes your tongue tingle. It's almost like you are being attacked by the beer. But on the athletic side, it's way smoother than that.
Yeah. I think again, we run into overall flavor wise, I prefer the Hazy Little Thing IPA by Sierra Nevada. but then based on the calories and drinkability, the Athletic Brewing is excellent. So perhaps on a night after a day outdoors, perhaps a mix. So like I said, you're sitting down drinking beers, 3 hazy little things or many IPAs. Again, you're going to be pushing your 600 calories, and of course a fairly high alcohol content. I mean, some of these hazy IPAs, especially, they'll run near 9% alcohol content. So you drink 3 or 4 of them, you're getting a little intoxicated there. But perhaps you drink one, you get that little bit of buzz you want off the alcohol. But the Athletic Brewing Company definitely, as far as the flavor of the beer, meets that point. So if you want to sit down and sip on beers, the Athletic Brewing Company definitely meets the necessities.
If IPA is your choice of beer, then I think I would go with Athletic Brewing, simply because you can consume more.
Yeah, very
without
true.
a negative impact.
Exactly. All right, so in summary, our experiment was to try Athletic Brewing Company's beers and find beers similar to them, just so we have a little bit of a background, a little bit of a way to compare them and see which one we enjoy better. But not only that, also to see if this beer is actually one that tastes like the flavor it claims, and if you could enjoy it as an alternative to drinking regular beers. So, Michael, what are your thoughts on that whole thing?
My thoughts are that the Athletic Brewing has a very similar coloring on all the beers across the whole board. It's almost like they're using the same ingredients all the time for everything, and just add a different flavor and different style of brewing. Certainly, the head on it is different than from the regular beers, but the clear winner for me would be the Athletic Brewing Company, since I will have more beers and more enjoyment out of them.
I say for me, I like a variety in beers. I enjoy the different flavors. I enjoy the different processes of brewing, the variety in just types and preferences. And if I did not know on a blind taste test, if I did not know that the Athletic Brewing Companies were brewed to be alcohol-free and lower calorie content, I wouldn't be able to tell, and it's incredible. In my knowledge, I considered non-alcoholic beers just light in flavor, just something you drank to drink something. Perhaps you liked the flavor of beer and you wanted something that kind of met that requirement, but didn't have that alcohol content, so you could drink that. But there's a lot of variety, very flavorful. So they taste-wise, brewing-wise, they meet all of that without having that alcohol and as much calories.
And you can speak to anyone. And if you like IPAs, you can have an IPA from Athletic Brewing. If you like lighter beer, you can have lighter beer from them as well. So it's not only for one person. Certainly, non-alcoholic beers went a long way from one type of beer that we were used to a couple of years back.
Yeah, definitely.
They've definitely come a long way, and now are a very considerable alternative to drinking, especially if you're a lightweight, especially if you're training for a marathon and you are telling yourself, I'm not going to drink while I do that because of all the negative effects on my sleep and everything else, and Garmin's going to yell at you. So for that reason, I think Athletic Brewing Company, you guys win.
Yeah.
Great variety, great flavors, and we appreciate those.
Something for everyone.
Definitely.
So we are done with our beer tasting and all of us are heading home. Thank you to Fleet Feet for having us host our beer tasting at your venue. We super appreciate it. And thank you, last but not least, to Athletic Brewing Company for providing us with these yummy samples. If you find this video helpful and like my content, please consider subscribing. We try to do weekly videos on all things running and have gear reviews and vlogs and all kinds of stuff. So thank you again for sticking with us. And until next time.